release me from my winter hell. I've got candles and candy, I can be your daddy if you only let me creep into your prison cell. Hey baby, can you tell I'm not a criminal? Your choice is seminal. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true. Just speak low, stand in your row, try not to show this life's a show. Try not to glow way down below. Oh, it's a lot of woe, and that's not a place where you would like to go. I've got cigarettes and brandy, which could come in handy if you just help me loosen up my hand grenades fuse. Baby, don't refuse my truth, but it's up to you not to choose. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say, just find your way and try to stay true, 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 true,
Good morning, everyone. How are you? I hope everybody is doing well. Hold on a second. Let me fix something really quickly. Hold on. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm glad we're back to getting. I'm glad we're getting back to the caterwauling dentist. I hope you guys had a great yesterday afternoon and evening after listening to Christopher Preciado's interrogation. I'll be back covering that this weekend. So what we have this morning is day 4. Spoiler alert, this is the state's last witness, okay? And spoiler alert, day 5 and day 6 are spicy. So this witness is still the detective. There's going to be more text messages read, all of the things, and then we'll get into what happens next. Okay. All right. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Still with the state.
Investigator Mefford. Okay. I want to ask you a couple brief questions about the interview that you had with the defendant. We see at one point in the end of the towards the end of the interview, you exit the room, but Investigator Cunho stays in the room. Was there a particular reason for that, or did you just leave and she decided to stay?
No, so we always do interviews with 2 people. We're interviewing females. I like to do an interview with a male and a female because I have to do the interview. Sergeant Cunho was my pick for this interview. when we do interviews, we try to establish what's called rapport. It's more of a connection with people, and sometimes there can be issues, whether male, female, stuff like that. And during this portion, I did exit and to see if there was any more story, confidence, or anything within to leave that there. So there is strategy to that.
And when you exited and Sergeant Cuneo stayed in the room with the defendant, did you note any, I guess, topics where the defendant did appear to open up a little bit more with Sergeant Cuneo?
Yes.
Could you give an example of that?
She was telling me there was nothing on her phone, nothing to worry about, but she did tell Sergeant Cuneo about the text message with Mr. English.
And is that something, the text messages with Mr. English, was that something that she had ever talked to you about, she being the defendant?
No, she told me there was nothing on her phone.
Besides the Mr. English text messages, did the defendant open up to Sergeant Cuneo about anything else while you were out of the room?
No, I do not believe so.
We saw in there that you were taking photographs of her injuries, the defendant's injury, or like the bruising that you saw that you personally witnessed on her arm. Do you know the time that those photographs were taken?
If you're referring to states 221 through 226, it was 6:30 a.m.
And
Hey, Justified. Happy birthday to your son. That's so sweet. I love it. Let me say hi to you guys. Hi, Chicken Lady. Good morning. Hey, Sarah Bellum. Good morning. Preschool Granny. Good morning. Boss Lady. Good morning. Listening in at work. Thanks for being here, you guys.
6:30 a.m. on March 8th.
That is correct.
Okay. You talked about last week your experience.
Hold on. I said that muted. Hey, Neat. Good to see you, babe. All right. Now we can get started for real.
Experience in law enforcement, that you worked in Forsyth County, you worked in Jackson County, and then Hall County. Throughout your experience in law enforcement, has there ever been an occasion where you've had to go up and knock on someone's front door to try and speak with them?
Yes.
Have you ever experienced a situation where that individual did not want to come out of the house?
Yes.
Have you ever experienced a situation where you had to end up kind of interacting or speaking with someone that was on the other side of a door?
Yes.
Did you have any trouble, or were you able to kind of determine where that individual was standing based off of being able to hear them speak to you through the door?
Yes.
You did have trouble?
No, I apologize. No, I could understand and figure out. I was able to get a feel for where they were to position myself better.
And if you had suspicion to believe that some individual on the other side of a door was holding a firearm, is there a particular way that you would position yourself at the door to protect yourself?
Yes, so along with being a firearm instructor while I was on patrol, I was also, still and currently a certified field training officer. And we do train new recruits to always take more of a defensive position. It's all about protection. You want everybody to go home at the end of the day. So you never want to stand solely in front of the door. You want to try to find some cover, what we saw, something would stop bullets if they were flying. So you want to stand adjacent to the door off to the side, preferably on the opposite side that the door opens. So when it opens, you can get a better visual into the room.
And so when you say like standing off to the side, could you maybe just stand up and pretend like the entranceway to the witness box is a door? Like, how would you be standing if that were a door?
So just like, if this was the door, we're going to pretend that the door opens this way, either way, just this way. I wouldn't want to be on this side. Let's say this wall's not here, and you can kind of get further. I wouldn't want to be on here because when the door opens, I'm only looking at solid door. So the way we teach the new recruits is stand on the opposite side. Hopefully there's bricks, there's wood, and there's studs. There's something that could slow down a bullet, stop a bullet if it were to come through. So you give yourself that much protection. If there's a window there, like a lot of your modern constructions have, you'll stand further off than that window and still be able to use that window. But that way, when the door opens, as it opens, you have visual into the room.
Have there been circumstances where you, in order to protect yourself from a potential firearm on the other side of the door, would you stand like with your body turned to the side, or would you stand with your body facing forward, or something different?
Well, you would blade your body, yes.
What does that mean, to blade your body?
I apologize. Yes, you would kind of cant your body to the side. The idea is to make the target small as possible.
Hey, Patricia, good to see you. This is a trial going on currently. We are, we were 1 day behind, but now we're 2 days behind because I wanted to go over the Christopher Preciado interrogation that was released to the jury yesterday. Well, I went over it yesterday. It was released to the jury on Monday. It was played for the jury on Monday. He is the one that's on trial, accused of shooting and killing Savannah Soto and her unborn son Fabian, and Matthew Guerra, her boyfriend, the father of the baby. So we're a couple of days behind, but that's all right. This makes it better. We can skip through stuff. Now, I will say this. I listened to this last night as I was going to sleep, and I don't know. I've never had firearms training. I've never taken a firearms class. I'm not somebody that is I'm not, what is that? I don't have a conceal and carry permit. I've never applied. It's not because I've been denied or anything. I just never applied for one. But anyway, my point is, I'm not sure that I'm curious for those of you guys who have been trained. Is the training the same? Do you get the same kind of training like policemen do? Because I think the point of this line of questioning is that maybe she stood in a way at the door as to hit him, but not hit her, but not be able to hit her back with the firearm. That's what it sounds like to me, but I'm not. I gotta tell you, this is the second time I've listened to this line of questioning, and I'm not actually sure that that's the point.
And you also mentioned that you were a firearms instructor last week.
Yes.
Certified firearms instructor.
Yes.
So could you just explain if someone is
okay?
Like,
I didn't think so.
Super.
Hold on, I didn't think so, Neat, because that would seem not like a good idea, right? So I would think that that would be, bad. Anyway, I'm very confused by this line, by that question for him. That's why. Because we're talking about how you train your police officers to stand. And she's not a cop. She doesn't have police training. So I guess I didn't understand that.
Experience with firearms. They're just learning the fundamentals of handling a firearm. What's involved with that? What's involved with someone who's just learning the fundamentals of controlling and handling a firearm?
So, here at the county, what we do a Glock orientation program for jailers that want to go to the academy, and they're taught to shoot at that time. And during that time, it's fundamentals. You're taught sight alignment, sight picture, breath control, trigger control, stance, grip, those things. And while you're honing in on these skills, you usually only fire one shot at a time. We wait till you get a little more advanced and a little more comfortable with the basic skills before you start adding follow-up shots. So yes, it's usually one shot, and then focus on the fundamental, focus on the follow-through, release the trigger, you can feel the reset, stuff like that.
So, for example, someone who is basically at the fundamentals level of shooting a firearm, and they go to a gun range, would they be trained to shoot one at a time at the target that they're shooting, or would they at some point be shooting multiple quick fires in succession?
So typically at gun ranges, you can't shoot rapid fire anyway. It's your public gun range. But usually typically when it comes to the new shooter, the novice shooter, you still focus on fundamentals. It's one shot at a time.
I want to bring your attention back to the search warrant you did of the defendant's phone. Last week, we talked about some text messages that you'd had a chance to review between the defendant and the victim. And I think I had asked you, this might have been where we ended, if you'd also had the chance to review some Cellbrite reports that were from the defendant's phone number. Were you able to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, they're about to get into these are going to be Facebook messages, okay? These are Facebook messages that are not, they are from an account that Suzanne created. It's not her account, it has a different name. And these, if I'm remembering correctly from last night, it's a little hazy. I was falling asleep. But if I remember correctly, she messaged Lilia and her daughter on the book. So I think that's what we're about to get into.
So then, again, I'm going to show you, just for the record, this is 199 D, O, R, N, and H.
Which of these have been admitted already?
None of them.
None of them? Okay, there's your notes. 199 of those minutes. Gotcha. This is this. Is that an O or a D?
That's a D.
Okay.
That's the O.
I need to speed this up just a little bit. I don't know what we're doing on normal speed.
The D a little bit.
It's like it's my first day on the tube. Sorry, you guys.
If you could just take a look at, I know the letters are all out of order. I'll try again. We got D, 199D, 199H, 199O.
Just out of curiosity, how far into the training do you get before you learn the double tap? You know, I worry constantly about a potential zombie apocalypse, and I do follow Zombieland rules. So I'm quite curious about when that would happen. I want to know when I'm going to learn the double tap. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
199O. I moved to 10. Have you had a chance to review all of those reports from the defendant's phone?
Yes.
Ooh, Madam Prosecutor looking as spicy today with the red heel.
Judge, at this time I moved to tender states 199D, 199H, 199N, 199O, and 199R into evidence.
Admitted pursuant to prior objection as noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
I want to start with 199D. So 199D is one page. I'm going to try and zoom out just a little bit. What are we looking at in 199D?
This is going to be the call history, I believe, of March 8th. The morning, yes,
And is this call history from the defendant's cell phone?
that is correct.
So we see at 1:10, this is March 8th at 1:10 a.m., there's an outgoing 911 call that's 45 seconds. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then below that, what's below that?
Another 911 outgoing call at 1:11 a.m.
And
9
then
seconds.
what's below? So there's a couple more 911 calls, and then we get the longest one being 50 seconds at 1:12:58. Is that correct?
No, the longest
No.
one being 1:34 at
Where's that one?
2 up.
Oh, two up. There you go. 1:11 is the 1 minute and 34 second. And how many 911 calls?
I'm sorry, that is incorrect also. Go down to number 9.
Got a longer one at
Yes,
4:17. At 1:18.
Yes,
How many calls, have you listened to the 911 calls that were made by this defendant in this case?
You know, it's funny that you bring that up, Nate, because Nate says, I hope we hear from the firearms instructor that taught her. I guarantee she wasn't taught to fire through a locked door. No, she was not taught to fire through. Who would teach that? I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, you know what I found interesting is that she had that gun, the shooting range and instruction tagged. You know, you can choose to untag yourself. And if I were that place, I would be untagging rapidamente.
yes, I have.
How many were like completed?
I believe that I heard 2 separate ones where there was actually a dialogue or interaction.
Okay, so these other calls that we're seeing, is it your understanding that those calls maybe didn't go through?
I don't have any recordings of them, so all dispatches activities are monitored and recorded.
Okay. And then we see at 1:15, Who is the defendant calling at 1:15?
Dana Gardner,
And then also, that was at 1:15:07, and then 1:15:26. Who is she calling?
the same person, Dana Gardner.
Do you know who Dana is?
I believe it's her sister.
Okay. And then after she calls her sister at 1:15, we have the 1:18, that's 4 minutes, and another 3-minute one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to show you state 199H. So states 199H, if we look, it's one page. I'm going to point your attention to this position 4 on this report. What is position 4?
It's going to be an outgoing text message.
And who is it going to?
I believe, correction, outgoing, it's going to be not a text message. It's going to be a social media message.
Okay.
Yes.
And who is that message going to?
The Emily I-S-T-R-A-T-E.
I-Street.
I-Street.
That's how I'm going to say it. Who is Emily I-Street?
I'm not sure.
Do you know the name of Lilia's daughter?
Oh, I knew Lilia Bocan. I was not familiar with the daughter's last name, yes.
Did you know that Lilia had a daughter?
Yes, I didn't know she had a daughter.
And it says this is on Facebook Messenger, is that right?
That is correct.
Could you read the message that the defendant sent to Emily
Wait a
I-Street?
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Back the milk truck up. Is this occurring all on March 8th? Did I miss something? Hold on. Let's go back because, hold on a minute. All right, let's play this.
We have the 1:18, that's 4 minutes, and another 3-minute one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to show you state 199H. So states 199H.
Patricia said, do you think when she got the gun training, she was intending to shoot the neighbor? No, she shot. This is not that case. This is the shooting through the door of the boyfriend. This happened in Georgia. And she and the boyfriend were arguing over him sending money to this woman in Moldova and her daughter named Lilia. And she says her story is that she walked up the stairs because he took her phone up there and locked the door in the guest bedroom. And then she told him she was going to shoot the lock off. And yet never actually shot at the doorknob where the lock would be. She shot up and she fired her firearm one time, hitting him in the arm. It exited the arm. It entered the side of the chest at the ribs, went through the ribs, piercing both lungs and the aorta. That's this trial. No, but to answer your question, no, I don't think that she took that training with the intention to shoot the boyfriend. And here's why. Because that training came in September of 2023, and she did not start a relationship with him until 2024. Also, this was like their second go around. They had a brief, few quick dates or whatever in 2019. Timing wasn't right. They remained friends, kept in contact here and there, but by 2024, she was in another relationship in the interim, and by 2024, she was single, ready to mingle. So was he, and they got back together.
If we look, it's one page. I'm going to point your attention to this position 4 on this report. What is position 4?
It's going to be an outgoing text message.
And who is it going to?
I believe, correction, outgoing, it's going to be not a text message, it's going to be a social media message.
Okay.
Yes.
And who is that message going to?
The Emily, I-S-T-R-A-T-E.
I-Straight
I-Straight.
is how I'm going to say it. Who is Emily I-Straight?
I'm not sure.
Do you know the name of Lilia's daughter?
Oh, I knew Lilia Bocan. I was not familiar with the daughter's last name, yes.
Did you know that Lilia had a daughter?
Yes, I did know she had a daughter.
And it says this is on Facebook Messenger, is that right?
That is correct.
Could you read the message that the defendant sent to Emily I-Straight?
David Barron, why is he paying for your apartment? A scam set up by Lilia Bocan, your mother. All will stop.
And what was the date that that Facebook message was sent?
February 2nd, or I'm sorry, February 12th, 2025 at 1:39 a.m.
1:39 in the morning.
That is correct.
Then I'm going to show you 199N. It's also one page. Gonna zoom out so we can see it. So, what is 199N?
It's going to be more Facebook Messenger history off the device.
And who is this Facebook message sent to?
Lilia Bocan.
And if you could read the message that the defendant sent to Lilia Bocan on Facebook.
David Barron, did you scam him? That will all stop. We're getting married.
And what was the date and time of this message?
Delivered February 12th, 2025 at 1:40 a.m.
1:40 a.m.
Yes.
I'm going to show you 199O. 199O is a little bit longer than one page. I'm going to try and zoom out. What is 199O a report of?
It's going to be, the way it's broke up, the way the phone's categorized and celebrate, you can narrow down the things you want to search. This is going to be the notes section of an iPhone.
So like in your little notes app where you can type notes, that's what this is a report of?
Yes.
So this first one, I'm not going to have you read all of them, but I kind of just want to go over some of them. So like, for example, this first one is on January 21st, 2025 at 1 a.m. If you could, if you don't mind just reading this first note at the top.
Okay. I was very hurt when I found out you were not truthful with me. I don't understand why you could not come around or come to me and be honest. I know it's hard sometimes to trust someone, but I want to be your safe place. I do not want to judge you. However, in a relationship, there has to be trust, boundaries for both of us. I love being with you. You're like my best friend, my lover. You're my heart. Never forget that you are my heart and my love. Please let me know when you're ready today to be honest with me, and we can begin to heal our relationship. I believe we are worth working on.
And what does this column right here indicate?
It was deleted.
And are these, all of these notes, are these all from the defendant's phone?
Yes, this report is, yes.
Okay. So below that, it looks like another note. Does this look like the same thing as what you just read previously?
So if you scroll up, I'll explain this to Jerry what you're looking at. See, right on the timestamp?
Here.
You look down, you'll see the date and time, you'll see creation time. Then you scroll down to the next one, and you'll see a different date. So it was January 24th, 2025 at 12:50, but it's different because it's a modification time. That just means that note was changed somehow at this time.
And then was this, so this is all the same note. This is when it was created, was January 21st at 1 a.m. And then it was modified January 24th at 12:50 p.m.
Yes, that's what the report indicates.
And so when they both say trash, is that because it's the same note, just created and then modified?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, just a refresher. When we left off Monday, okay, we left off with her texts to David, which were similar to these notes that she's reading, or that he's reading off, okay, that he's testifying to. These are notes in her note app on her iPhone. So basically what you have here is a woman who not only literally texts novel length text to her boyfriend, David, but she also writes novel length notes about, they're not even about David, they're to David. It's the weirdest. I don't know if she is trying to get like her brain straight or what it is that she wants to write out, but I mean, it's a text, so you kind of can do that while you're typing out the text. This seems very redundant and extra.
So then at January 30th at 3:39 a.m., there is a much longer one. I'm not going to have you read all of that, but if you could maybe just read just from David until the bottom of this page.
Just the first page?
Yes.
First section? Okay. David, appreciate you asking, but right now I have to value me. I offered you grace and forgiveness because I love you so much, and I was led to believe by you that I was the love of your life. However, when you chose her, you gave up your right to me. I have survived before on my own, and will do it again. My dream with you has died, but my dream to live on the lake, my dream with you has died, but my dream to live on the lake, see my daughter get married, see my children, and hopefully soon grandchildren, enjoy this home will bring me so much joy. I deserve to have a beautiful home and life, and to be able to relax. I deserve to have someone that loves me and values and respects me. I want to buy a boat soon and live the rest of my life here.
If you could also just maybe read this first sentence right here.
You do not have to pretend that you care about me. It is clear as day that you don't. Please do not contact me except through emails. Don't ask me how I am. Just stick to business.
And so it goes on. What's your understanding of, like, when you read these notes, what was your understanding of what these notes were?
Either some type of rehearsed text message you wanted to send, or there's even a few that almost seem like, diary entries. So.
And so scrolling down to, we also have another one on January 30th at 8 a.m. If you could just read just the first paragraph so we can see what this one's about.
So do you want to go just amazing?
Just to, yeah, amazing.
Okay. It's sad I don't even know what to say to you anymore. Of course, I would love to see you and have you hold me and take care of me. I try not to think of you, but you are everywhere. In my past, my present, and I thought we had a beautiful future together. You had become my best friend. You made me smile, laugh, and love like never before. When we made love, I felt like we were one. Our kisses were amazing.
So then this one continues. And then this is at, so this says, so this one said created time was at 8:03. Below that, we have the same date, modified time at 2:12. Is this that same note but has been modified?
I believe so.
And has this note also been deleted?
Yes.
So then we have a new one on February 2nd at 8:04 a.m. If you don't mind reading, if you don't mind reading this one, sorry.
Whole one?
Yes, please.
Okay. Good morning. He came to St. Simon's this weekend to explain. They have been texting and communicating. She told me that they were married all year. I asked him about that, and at first he did tell me the truth, and then I told him, she told me. I told him that is an affair. Apparently, when she flies to New York, when she comes to Atlanta, he sees her. I do not understand why he became involved with me and bought a home with me if he was involved in a relationship. I'm still deeply hurt and in shock. She is on Facebook as well as her daughter, and they look happy and very well taken care of. I asked your dad to see his text messages, and he would not let me hold his phone. He became very angry and left. I love your dad very much, but I cannot be in this relationship where there is no trust. And so many lies and betrayals. He is living two separate lives. He has broken my heart. I can tell you more, but I'd rather not on this text. He not drink alcohol on Friday. We stay in, and I did not have in my condo. I did tell him that I'll talk to my sisters, and he was upset and angry with me after he had drinks. When we went out for dinner, he is embarrassed because of talked to him, my sisters. He became very, very angry and loud because I told him that she was using him. This is just a huge nightmare, and I feel like I'm in the middle. He cannot take confrontation and left last night. I guess he stayed in the hotel. He said this was all my fault. I do not understand. I fell in love with a man that I thought was completely single and in love with me. I feel like I do not even know him. He told me this weekend he was going to end it with her because he loved me. When he is drinking, he is, I believe supposed to be, a different creature.
And this note mentions your dad. So, like, she's saying your dad. What's your understanding of who this note?
This is probably she wrote it in notes, composed a text message in notes, and is probably going to send it to one of his sons. She doesn't address either one, so I don't know.
And at 8:04 a.m. on that same day, we have a modified time. Is this that same note that she has edited?
Yes.
And has this note also been deleted?
Yes.
At February 8th at 3:22, we have another note. I'm not going to make you read the whole thing. If you could just start here to the bottom.
Okay, so here too. Okay.
Where it says your dad told me.
Your dad told me he has talked to Lilia several times regarding stopping payments to her in the apartment. He tells me she does not understand and is confused. I told him she has I told him she has been manipulating him. I'm afraid that he does not have the heart to remove the daughter from the apartment. He feels something. They are scamming him. She texted me to go away. I'm rooting everything. She is smarter than your dad wants to believe. You have to handle this for him. I wish it would end and go away. Thank you.
And then February 10th at 5 a.m., it looks like that same note was modified.
Yes.
Then we have February 15th at 4:50 p.m., another one that starts with David, and then it's a pretty long one. I won't have you read it, but was this note any different than any of the other ones that you had read?
This was modified, but, yeah, it was modified, so it's previously in there, and I would have to go.
So this one was modified from, if we scroll back up in the exhibit,
Oh,
right here, from the one that was created
Yes.
on January 30th
I
at
believe so.
3 a.m.?
I believe so.
So if we scroll back down, that January 30th one was modified on February 15th.
Yes.
Okay. Then we get to February 17th at 6 p.m. If you could just read the first paragraph up until up until here.
Okay, just stop at 3.
Yes.
All right, can you go up just a
Oh, I apologize.
There we go. All right, it says keep, no phone call, very rough, hearting impaired. I remember I realized I was going the wrong way and I pulled over to the right. I had a few drinks earlier about 6:30. I think the last one was maybe 12 o'clock. I took my medication, progesterone, Lexapro, and a half a Zolpin around 2 o'clock. We've been watching a movie and I was headed to bed. We've gotten in an argument and I decided I couldn't sleep, so I would get up and leave to head back home because I had a lot of work to do at my office. I left at 4, but I decided to leave at around 3.
And do you remember the date of the DUI arrest that she had?
Not off the top of my head, but this, yeah.
Does it sound like, does February 16th sound like around the time where she was arrested?
Probably she said a couple of weeks before, so a couple weeks before, but I have the case number, but I don't remember the date of the report.
And is this, I'm not going to have you read all the rest of this note, but what is she talking about in the remainder of the note?
I believe it's notes about the DUI arrest.
So this note is like the DUI arrest.
Yes.
And earlier you mentioned some of these notes read more like a diary entry. Is this one of those notes that you
Yes.
were referring to?
Yes.
Then also on February 17th, it's modified, and is it that same note that's been modified?
It begins the same, so I believe so.
Then we have a new one on February 22nd at 9 p.m. that was created. If you could just read this first paragraph.
The secret you hid and the lies you continue to keep playing on my mind. The overthinking, the unanswered questions, the silence, the absence of effort, the refusal to communicate. Your actions, or lack of, spoke louder than any words ever could. I am looking at your behavior, your silence, your refusal to give me peace and security. You are not willing to fight for me or take responsibility.
If you could actually just read the remainder of that note, since it's not too long.
Your continued silence, your need to protect Lillian and provide for her, to care for her well-being shows me I am not the woman you're looking for. It is obvious who you love and care about. I need to move forward. Since all of this surfaces, I question your commitment, love, and future for us. Lillian is a lucky woman to have your heart and loyalty. I deserve someone who makes an effort to respect and care for me, not silence. I need someone that makes me feel loved and safe.
And then right below that, we have the same note that has a modified time of 9:57 p.m. on that same day. And then February 23rd at 5 p.m., if you could just start reading at the top, and actually, we're going to skip. Can you start reading right here at after?
Okay. After movie, he began watching the sports news, and we had argued earlier, so I went to the bedroom and packed my belongings. Because I was planning on leaving around 4 a.m., because it takes about 5.5 hours to drive home. I was headed to go to my office. I had to complete my my taxes and medical insurance claims for patients, and prepare documents because I am in the process of trying to sell my dental practice. Also, to prepare my home for showing, and the following day around 1:30, because I am selling my home. As well, I crawled in bed around midnight, and David had fallen asleep watching TV. I got up and turned it off in the fireplace, and David woke up. He headed to the bedroom, and I started talking to him to solve an argument he did not want to discuss, and he headed upstairs around 1:30 a.m. I laid in bed for several hours and could not fall asleep. I read a few articles and organized my thoughts in my journal. Around 3 a.m., I decided to leave an hour early, packing my belongings and put inside my vehicle. When I came back inside, David was awake and on the stairs. We talked for about 20 minutes. I left and headed home.
And then on March 1st at 8 p.m., it looks like that note was modified.
Correct?
Lastly, I want to show you State's Exhibit 199R.
Good morning, Kimberly. Good to see you, babe. Thanks for being here.
What is State's 199R?
This report of searched items on the phone,
Like searched where?
internet items.
Like searched on the internet?
Yes.
What's the date of all these searches?
March 7th, 10:19 p.m., March 7th, 10:19, well, 09, 10:19:47, March 7th again, 10:19:54, and same date, but 10:20 even.
So all of these four searches were searched on March 7th at 10:19, all within a couple seconds of each other, and then 10:20, about 6 seconds after the one before it.
Excuse me, yes.
And what are the searches that the defendant was searching in her web browser?
It's titled the Sheriff's Office, County Jail, and Hall County, so I believe in layman's terms, she's searching the Hall County Jail.
And she's searching the Hall County Jail 4 times. Are any of these searches deleted?
The one on Safari,
And so this is March 7th at 10 p.m. What's your understanding of when 911 was called?
March 8th, approximately started around 1:11, I believe.
So about 3 hours prior to the 911 call, these 4 searches were done in the defendant's phone?
Yes.
Thank you, Investigator Medford. I don't have any other questions.
Before we begin cross, what do you guys suppose she's searching the sheriff's office for? Because certainly, if I'm remembering the timeline correctly, according to her, okay, wasn't he asleep at that time? Didn't she wake him up, according to her, around 11? Am I remembering that correctly? I'm going to have to go back and check that.
Yeah, I'll put them there. Do you want them? Sure. This is all of that. Here you go.
Well, we're going to start exactly where she left off, okay?
Okay.
It's my pen up there.
Oh. Yes, thank you.
Is that right?
That is, yes.
The orientation?
I'm gonna take care of it.
Yes. Okay.
Can you sit on top of it?
What do you want? I want to be able to see the whole thing here. All right. We know the 911 call came in, I think it was 1:10 a.m. actually, the first one, right?
Somewhere around there.
On March the 8th. And what we've got here is things saying search items, right?
That is
Over here in
the type, yes.
Yep. One of them is a Safari search.
Yes,
Safari is a way to search things on a phone. It's a web browser, right?
yes,
iPhone is what she has.
yes.
Okay. We've got a Safari search, 10:19 p.m., according to this record, right?
Yes.
Now, these all say knowledge. Do you know what that means when we see source, knowledge, see?
I've had the conversation with Lieutenant London, but not off the top of my head.
Okay. Okay. Well, and I want to make sure we got this right, because I think you said she searched for it 4 times.
What? It's in there 4 times. It's on the report 4 times. Yes.
You're not telling these folks that you're a computer forensic expert.
Nope.
Okay. This is a report that was done through Cellbrite. We know Safari was a search, and you're not certain what knowledge means.
No.
Okay. Now, this thing says deleted, yes, and it's got a red on it, right? And are you saying that that means that she deleted that out of her search history?
I would believe so. That's, yes.
Why are you saying that? Just because the red yes is there?
Typically, I mean, I would have to run a trash report to confirm, or the deleted files, but
But you're not a forensic expert. You haven't done any of that work. You're just, it says yes in red, and that's why you're
Yes.
saying deleted.
yes.
All right, let's talk about these notes, okay? I think that's 199O. Am I right about that? Is the notes O? Yeah. Yep. Let's talk about 199.0. First of all, just to restate it, when you have an iPhone or any kind of phone, you can open it up and there's something called a Notes app.
Yes.
You can take notes in your phone. Everybody knows this, but you can take notes in your phone. You can load them in there. You can save them. You can delete them. You can amend them, all that stuff. Right?
Yes.
And it can act as a journal. Could be, just be note, right? True.
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's talk about the entry from 2/2/25. This is the one, yeah, 2/2/25, where it seems like we think maybe this is a note to one of the sons he's working on. Maybe a text she's going to send later or something.
I don't know who this was intended to send for, but I could see where it'd be attached.
I thought you said it was presumably to one of the sons.
There was another one, I believe, that
Okay.
she indicated.
I'm going to hand you the document and you can find it for me. The one that we think is the note to the son.
Yeah. The one that-
It's 2/2/25. Okay?
Okay. Okay, yes, I apologize. I did not see the I love your dad. That's what indicated that.
Okay, so that was the one?
Yeah, I believe so. I just didn't see the I love your dad part that indicated that.
Okay. We'll put it back up in the overhead for everybody. Now, what was it that had just happened on July the 31st and February 1st in St. Simon's Island? What had just happened?
The unfounded domestic dispute?
The unfounded domestic issue had just occurred. The unfounded domestic issue with a softball-sized injury to the back of her head. Yes, sir?
It was never stated that it was just unfounded as far as I know. I was not there, so I can't testify to it.
Well, you just said unfounded.
That's what they know arrest was made, so.
It had just happened on July 31st. January 31st. Thank you. January 31st in St. Simon's Island, this unfounded issue with the softball-sized injury. And she is apparently planning some note to his kids, right? It's within 48 hours of that event, right?
Yes.
Okay. And she's telling him he didn't drink alcohol Friday. We stayed in, and I did not have in my condo. She's telling him he's done the Lilia stuff she's complaining about, right? But she's not planning to tell him anything about this injury to her head or this problem, apparently, right?
She didn't mention it.
That's right. Didn't mention it. Let's talk about the DUI note. Okay? My hand is to you.
Okay, thank you.
I want you to find that DUI note. Let's look at the 2/23 DUI note. Remember, the first DUI note was 2/17/25.
Yes.
Let's look at the 2/23/25.
Okay, I'm on that note.
Okay, you got it? Mericle?
You want me to fully read it first, Ken, or do you want to?
Starting with this paragraph here. Okay? After After the movie, he began watching sports news. We had argued earlier, and so I went on to the bedroom and packed my belongings because I was planning on leaving around 4 a.m. because it takes 5.5 hours to drive home. I was headed home to go to my office. I had to complete my taxes, medical insurance, claims for patients, and prepare documents because I'm in the process of selling my dental practice. Also, to prepare my home for a showing the following day at 1:30 because I'm selling my home as well. I crawled in bed around midnight, and David had fallen asleep watching TV. I got up and turned off the TV and fireplace and woke David up. He headed to the bedroom, and I started talking to him to solve argument, and he did not want to discuss, and he headed upstairs at 1:30 a.m. Upstairs at 1:30 a.m. I laid in bed for several hours. I could not fall asleep. I read a few articles, organized my thoughts in my journal. Around 3 a.m., I decided to leave an hour early. I packed my belongings and put it inside my vehicle. When I came back inside, David was awake and on the stairs, and we talked for about 20 minutes, and I left for home to head home. Right? That's what it says.
Yes.
And this is taken as a note. Who is this for?
There's nobody addressed.
There's no one addressed. She's taking this note. Why is she working on this version?
Don't know.
Why does she want to remember this version in this particular way that it's so important that she takes a note and saves it in her phone? Okay, don't know.
I just know what was on the device. Yes.
Doesn't it seem strange that a person would have to take notes about what happened in the real world in order to remember them? Doesn't that seem a little strange to you?
Is that a question?
Yes, sir.
Oh. People do all sorts of things with their phones. I can't comment on that. I can't say it is.
Okay. We'll talk about this a little bit later on, okay? I want to talk to you now
Well, he's another, we'll circle back to that.
first.
I mean, it is a ridiculous question on its face, right? It's a rhetorical question. How could he possibly know why she did any of the things that she did that day? For example, why'd she shoot at the friggin' door? Hardly self-defense if the person you claim is the perpetrator is upstairs, away from you, behind a locked door. And rest assured, y'all, she is claiming self-defense. We were unsure about that at the beginning of this trial, but she is.
Will you label those up for me? Yep. First, I want to talk to you while we're getting some pictures together about the body camera from Richard Thomas,
Okay.
Officer Thomas. It was in State's Exhibit 6, okay? Judge, I need to mark this.
Yes.
Is there a button you have to hit? Do you have to do anything? Would you hit it? I'm sorry.
There is, and I did.
Okay. It might be doing that thing again, so I may have to close out of everything because we are up. This is State's Exhibit 6. We're hitting, okay.
That's all I have to do. Still drag it to the left, get it on TV.
It doesn't look like any of the TVs are on. Let me close out of it, Judge. This is what did it last time, so.
So I would anticipate that this witness will, cross-examination will go on for a while. Let's take a break now, and then we'll come back. 15 minutes, please.
Well, they're going to take a break, not us. Hold on. Let me get you guys
I had to close out of it.
back from the break. Although, whenever they like right now, there's no sound, which is weird because other times there's been sound. And you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a classroom when the teacher leaves.
All right, welcome back. Thank you so much. Please be seated. We'll continue with witness examination.
Okay, I think you testified on direct examination that you'd watched, I think you said you watched Mr. Deputy Thomas's video many, many times.
Yes, I've seen it.
That's State's Exhibit 6, Judge. It's been previously tendered and admitted. I want to direct your attention to the part where the EMS folks have shown up and they're dealing with Miss Mericle and checking her vitals, okay?
He wants to deal with the most annoying part of the whole video. She's caterwauling, throwing her. This is a nightmare, but we're going to have to watch it again. We're all going to suffer together.
And Chris, if you could start it at 44:46 on the video.
44:45.
Sorry, 44:45.
I know you guys are taking essentially rights from her, or like you're taking over. She does probably need to get checked out. So blood pressure's up. She's doing a lot of stress. Just mental health evaluation on stuff. We're gonna recommend you.
EMS is on scene. They're evaluating her. They say she's got elevated blood pressure, right? Correct?
Yes,
She's under a lot of stress
yes.
and needs a mental health evaluation on some stuff.
Just mental health evaluation on stuff.
Roll it to 46:19, Mr. Van Russell. That's 46:05. That's 46:45. There you go. That's good enough. 46:15, Judge.
Tell me your piece of love.
I'm out here with you. I can answer that question for you.
How did this happen? I was so scared. He like turned into somebody I didn't know.
First thing she's asking is he okay? They don't give a response. Then she says, how did this happen? I was so scared. Right? Correct.
Under this single contexted line, yes, that is what it said, which contradicts.
We'll get into that. Go ahead and roll it.
Has anything like this ever happened before? Where he's gotten violent with you in the past?
The question is asked to her if he's been violent with her in the past. She doesn't say anything, but what does she do?
I was reading.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
back it up 10 seconds, Chris, and let's roll it again.
Where he's gotten violent with you in the past?
She doesn't verbally say anything, but what does she do?
She does give a head nod.
A head nod to, has he ever gotten violent with you in the past?
Yes.
Yes. At this point, she keeps asking, is he alive? Is he dead? Is he alive? Is he dead? You'd agree with that?
She keeps asking for his status
That's right.
throughout the entire investigation, yes.
So she nods to prior violence. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Doesn't say it, but she nods to it. Correct? Correct?
Again, yes.
Okay. Go ahead and roll it again, Chris.
How this happened. Like, what are y'all saying? What are y'all saying?
Nothing, don't worry about it.
Please tell me he's here alive.
We don't know.
We don't
We've been
know.
out here with you this
Okay.
entire
What am I going to tell his kids?
But
I've got to call his kids and tell them he's at the hospital.
She asks if she can contact his children. That's obviously Colt and Evan. Correct?
Correct.
Let's roll down, Chris, to 4842. Same page.
Yes, sir.
That's good enough. 4839. Go ahead. 4839, Judge.
4117, all yet, December?
What do I do? I should never have got my gun. I thought he was gonna kill me. He said he was gonna, he put it like towards my mouth and said he was gonna shove it down my throat.
I thought he was going to kill me, correct?
That is what it said at this time.
The next thing is, he said he was going to, he put it like toward my mouth and said he was going to shove it down my throat. Correct?
Yes.
Chris, 5044. 5044. That's good. 5040, Judge. 5040.
I just feel for home.
I tried to feel for a pulse, correct?
Yes.
Go ahead and roll it, Chris.
023404 for being 023404.
So much fun. Why did I go get my gun? You can't tell me who's getting. Don't go to sleep. I should have just left. I told him I was gonna leave, but I was scared because the last time I left, got in a fight, I got pulled over, and they were not. I have a hearing.
He told me don't go to sleep, correct?
Again, according to this snippet, yes.
I told him I was going to leave. She says, I should have just left. I told him I was going to leave, but I was scared because last time I left, we got in a fight. I got pulled over, and then she sort of trails off. Correct?
That's what it says here, and that's what I heard. But
That seems to be talking about the DUI night, right?
possibly.
Well,
No. This is completely out of context, just one line snippet, so
I
I have to go
understand.
back through.
but she says I got pulled over when she left.
Oh, the last time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the DUI notes in the phone, the DUI notes in the phone that we just looked at, that she'd been practicing, they say he heads upstairs 1:30. I couldn't fall asleep. I read a few articles, organized my thoughts in my journal. Around 3 a.m., I decided to leave an hour early. I packed my belongings and put inside my vehicle. When I came back inside, David was awake and on the stairs, and we talked for 20 minutes, and I left to head home. Right?
I think you're merging two things. I think that is solely about the DUI night. I think this, she's trying to talk about this night, but ends with the reason I didn't leave was I got pulled over.
Okay, so you don't think she's talking about the DUI night here?
Not this entire sentence. No, I think she's trying to use that excuse that she did not leave.
Okay. Okay. We'll keep working on that, okay? Let's go 5355, Chris. You're good. 53-54, Judge.
He's a good man, he is. He just got mixed up with this. He was in a struggle. He just couldn't. And then I just told him that.
I told him I wasn't mad at him. I'm just tired. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. Right? That's what she said?
Yes.
And the next part is, he just said if I started dating, and then she trailed off. Correct?
Mhm.
Go ahead and roll it, Chris.
We had a nice night. I got mad. I told him that I didn't want this house anymore. That he told me he didn't want the house. And he said, "Do you want it?" I said, "Let's just sell it." And I told him, because he's been paying that woman in Romania money, and I just said, "You can pay the rent for the next 6 months, and let's just not see each other, talk to each other, and let's just." And he said, "If I moved on, he would kill me." And he told me to shove that gun down my throat.
The last thing she says is, and he said if I moved on, he would kill me. And he told me he would shove that gun down my throat. Right.
That's what it said at this time. So,
Go ahead and roll it again.
I mean, I'm just happy. We're both good